Okay, this is 7th grade lesson 5.5. In this lesson, students will use their visual skills to draw and identify translations in the coordinate plane. The standard covered in this lesson is 8G3. The page numbers out of the hardcover book are pages 220 through 225, and out of the practice journal, pages 123 through 126. We will also be using a side A and side B worksheet, so make sure that you get this worksheet from me. This will be located in the folders over on the counter. So you will have references to use the book, but for the most part, you're going to be using the worksheets today. Okay, today what we're going to be working with is translation. So translation is a transformation in which a figure slides but does not turn. Every point of the figure moves in the same direction and the same distance. So here, when you see these bicycles, a translation is an example of, take note, each of these stayed the same size. Nothing changed on them. We just took the red bike and we slid it over to a new location. So here it'd be like riding a bike from point A to point B. That would be considered a translation. Here's another translation of the bike moving. Maybe it was parked in one location and we moved it over to another part of our driveway. That is a type of a translation. The bike does not change, just the location of the bike change. It also does not rotate in any manner. We're just moving it to a new location. So notice that the front of the bike still stays the front of the bike. It does not go ahead and rotate in any manner, okay? An original figure and its image have the exact same size and shape when you are working with the translation. If you have not watched the translation video that I have connected on our Google Classroom, make sure that you do watch that. I'm not able to share it through this video because my screen won't jump to my internet from this, okay? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on with this. So it says, tell whether the blue figure is a translation of the red figure, and then just explain. If you decide yes, well, that would just be, you could explain by saying, well, it didn't change shape and it didn't rotate, but it did move. Okay, so here we have comparing our blue figure. Is it a translation of the red figure? Did these move? Yes. Did they rotate? No. Did they change size? No. So yes, this would be a translation where it translated or moved from one location to another. Okay, so this is just identifying translations. Okay, so here, if I have a 5 and another 5, so the translation, and you could work either red to blue, it doesn't really matter. Is the blue figure a translation of the red figure? Did it slide? Yes, it slid up from this location up to this location. It did not change size. It did not rotate. So yes, that would be considered a translation. So yes, it's a translation. Okay, here I have from the red G to the blue G. Is that considered a translation? So when we look at this one, well, you've got G's, but it actually took and flipped that G over. So this would be a no. It kept the same size, but it flipped the shape. So that would be a no. Okay, how about this one? On this one, we still have the same shape, but it was enlarged and made bigger. It did slide, but it was made bigger. So this would also be a no because it was made larger. All right. Why don't you guys go ahead, pause your video and do these two to check to see, identifying which one is a translation, which one is not. Okay, this would be a no translation because they took the 3 and turned it on its side. So that would be a no. Remember, translation keeps the same size and it does not rotate. Here, this would be a yes. Okay, the figures were the same size. They did not rotate. They slid from one location to another. Okay, so that's working with just identifying. When you have 2 pictures and they want you to identify, is it a translation? Remember, translation is a slide. Another thing that I think of when I think of translation, I think of changing from maybe English to Spanish and you're translating between 2 languages. Although, I mean, you don't really change. You're still trying to communicate the same information. It's just that you had to slide it into another language. Okay, so this is where you're gonna need your worksheet. So make sure at this time that you've got your worksheet. If you don't, you're probably gonna have to pause your video right now and get that worksheet from me. I will also try and have these shared with you through Google Drive, but unfortunately, you actually physically need to be working on your worksheets. So you're gonna need a physical copy. So if you have access to a printer and you're at home, well, you could go ahead and print that. Otherwise, I do have them in the folders over on the counter. Okay, so here, you guys are doing exactly what I'm doing on your worksheets as I work through these. So we're gonna go ahead and do translations involving and working with coordinates also. So the key thing on this is if they ask us to translate a figure, we're gonna go ahead and have to, first of all, see what the translation was. And that's located down here, not always down below, but on this worksheet, that's where they've given us the translation. So it says the shape above has the following coordinates. -5, so -5. Now these coordinates are not, or these coordinate planes are not set up with numbers. If you need those numbers, you're gonna have to go ahead and write those in. I'm gonna go ahead and just count. We guys know that this is 0, 0. Okay, so my -5, is actually my red dot. So that's my A. Over to 0 up to 9, that would be, looks to me like it's a green dot. It's right here. Okay, so that's my green dot. And my letter C, -10, 10 is my yellow dot that's located right up here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark those with colors. You do not have a colored sheet, so you're just kind of going off of the same locations as me. If you would like to mark them on your sheet, you could go ahead and mark them as this was A, this was B, and this was C. Okay, so now if I go ahead and translate, we're going to first of all have to read what the translation was, and that was to move the shape 4 units right and 1 unit down. So when we translate, we're going to pick one of our points. It does not matter which point we choose to work with first, and we're going to go ahead and follow those steps that are stated right here. So I need to pick a point and go 4 units to the right and 1 unit down and put my new point. So I'm going to count with my black marker, and then I'm going to mark with the color that is indicated on my sheet. So if I go 4 units, I'll go ahead and start with my A, my red dot, and I'm going to go 4 units to the right. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go 1 unit down. So if I go 1 unit down, it's going to be sitting right here is where my new red dot is. Okay, so now I can go ahead and continue that exact same counting from each of the points. Some of you might say, well, I'm more comfortable with counting it out now from that red dot. To get to my B, I would have to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. And I could do that. So over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my new B right here. Okay, other people might not be comfortable with that method. So then the other method that you can use is you can go ahead and just count from that point again. So if I want to translate my C, well, maybe I'm not comfortable with the method that Mrs. Swanson just showed me. I can do the method that I did off of A every single time. So if I go ahead and move I'm going to erase this quick to get rid of my extra dots here. Whoops. Okay, so if I wanted to move my C, well, I could do the same method that I had done earlier and just count out. So I need to go over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 1. So this is where my C would now be. So I'm going to go ahead and color that in with. Okay, so now if I go ahead and connect each of those lines, and you're going to use a straight edge for this, I would prefer you to use a straight edge, just so that it does end up looking like the same figure. So I'm going to go ahead and draw. Hopefully my computer will work with me here. And you can see that I have a figure that looks similar. It's the same shape, same size. It's just slid over a little bit. Okay, so that's a translation. The translation of this was 4 units to the right and 1 unit down. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and practice that again. You should be doing this on your worksheet. So we're going to go ahead and try another one here. Oops. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do number 2 now on your worksheet. And this just takes practice, going through and being able to practice that concept. Now in this one, we're going to go ahead and write out what the coordinates would be of our new translation also. I didn't do that on the last one, but we will kind of add that piece to this one. Okay, so here we're going to go ahead and first of all look at what our translation was, which was this one. So it says 4 units to the right and 1 unit down. So we're still going to follow the same translation. It's not always the same. It just happened to be on this one. So we're going to go 4 units to the right. So first of all, I'll go ahead and identify for you guys, which you're going to have to do on your own when you do your own worksheet. Just a reminder, this is your side A, and you should be able to see that the figures look the same. So this is my A. So if you want to mark these on yours, that's okay. My B was -2 up to 9. This is B. C is -8 up to 9. So over to -8 up to 9. This is C. That means my yellow dot is D. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do the translation. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one of them and follow that translation. So for A, I'm going to go over 4 and down 1. So over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. That's where my location for my A should be. Okay, for B, and I don't like to put my letters on until I'm done, and I'll do that as the last step. So for B, I'm going to follow that same translation. So I'm going to go over 4 on my B up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. Whoops, I'm going to mark that the same color, sorry. There's my B. Okay, so for C, same concept, over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. And for my D, over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. Now, as I told you earlier, if some of you are comfortable with just translating one and then copying by counting off, you can do that. Either method, you should end up with the same shape. So now if I go ahead and connect these, I'm just going to go ahead and connect them with my marker. It makes it easier when I'm erasing my board. So I'm going to go ahead and use my black marker to connect my dots. You should be using a straight edge so that it looks exactly the same. Okay. Ooh, that's not very pretty. This line over here doesn't look very good, but oh well. Okay. So there I've translated my figure. It looks pretty similar, though I'm using my marker instead of my straight edge just so I can erase it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm going to write the coordinates of each of them. So my A, my new coordinates. Now remember, your coordinate planes are not labeled. So you're going to have to understand, you're either going to have to take the time to write them or just be comfortable with counting it out. So here is my origin. I'm going to mark it really quick with a color so that you can see it. My origin's right here. So that's my 0, 0. So to get to A, well, my coordinates, I'm going to go over to 1, 2, 3, 4 and down to -1. So my new coordinates would be 4, -1. Okay, so for B, well, my new B is right here. So the coordinates of that are over to 2. So I had to go over to the second line, and then I had to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 is my Y. Okay, so for C, here's my new C right here. And my coordinates of that, you'll notice also that every 5th line is a lot darker, and I'm not sure if that shows up as well on your sheets as it does on my screen, but I can see it very well on my screen that they've done that. And maybe you want to do that. Take a ruler and kind of draw over those with maybe a marker or something just to darken that to make it easier for you to see. Okay, so now if I do this, let's see, I went over to 4 and then up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4, 8. And then for my letter D, which is now here, well, I went, and sorry, that was -4, 8. Okay, so for my letter D, I had to go over to -3 up to 1, 2, 3, 4. So -3, comma, 4. So that's working with also identifying your coordinates. Sometimes they're going to just ask, what are the new coordinate sets of your new figure, of your translated figure? Sometimes they'll just ask you to move it, and sometimes they're going to ask us what the translation is. So here the translation was 4 units to the right, 1 unit down. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try another concept. So on the bottom of your page, you'll notice that I kind of modified it so that we could practice writing out what the translation is. So on number 3, what you guys have, we're going to go ahead and do the translation from this lighter figure. This is the original figure. And let's do our translation to the darker figure. So this is our new figure. Okay, so, and they'll go ahead and give you, it'll either be red to blue, or they'll say the light to the dark. They're going to tell you which one's going to be your original, which one's going to be your new. And so I will go ahead and make sure that as we're doing this, I'm identifying that on the slide here. And then on the back side, I will go ahead and add or write those on there. Okay, so now if I want to go from the original, which is our lighter colored one up here, to what the new one is, I'm going to pick a point and I'm just going to count it out. This process is actually pretty fast and pretty easy. I only have to pick one point. I don't have to check the translation on every single one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the point from, let's do our red to red. And it doesn't matter which one you pick. So I'm going to do my red point and I'm going to count out to get from that red dot on the left side to the red dot on the right side. What steps did I have to go? Okay, so I'm going to go over to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to go to the right 9. And then I'm going to go up 1, 2. So 2 spaces up. Okay, that's my translation. So when they ask you to describe a translation, that's what they want you to do. They want you to go ahead and just pick one point. And if I picked a different one, I would still get the exact same translation. So on this one, you get to pick one point and just count to get from that point on the other figure, how many places did you move, left or right, and then how many places up or down, okay? And you could reverse those, but usually the left to right is what's stated first. Okay, so let's go ahead and try one more of these. So this is your number 4. So here's our original. And this is our new shape. So we're going to do original to new. And what is the translation? So I'm going to pick one. This time I'm going to do my yellow dots. Okay, it doesn't matter which one I pick. And I'm going to go ahead and count to get those. So I'm one that has to sit there and kind of touch each spot. For me, I'm visual. I know that I need to do that. It helps me in the counting process. So here I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I went to the right that time. You can't just say over when you do your translation, because we have to know, did it go to the left or the right? Did it go up or down? So some of you, like I said on the previous one, usually the left and right is stated first. Here I did it the reversal. It doesn't matter. I could have also counted going to the right first and counted it this way. Okay, and then counted down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So just remember that those are interchangeable. You can move one place or another. So it's either to the left or to the right first, and then up or down second, or if you reverse those, it's okay. Okay, that's pretty much it for this lesson. So what your homework is going to be is to go ahead and practice these 2 concepts. If you're stuck, rewind to the beginning part of this part of the slideshow and just re-practice those concepts maybe on your whiteboard. If you want to practice some more, you're still stumped, go ahead and ask me. I'm sure I have some other sheets that you can go ahead and practice some more. So good luck with this, and just remember, as translation, your shape stays the same size. It does not rotate. All it does is it slides or translates to another position.